Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're taking a look at the new Colossus, aka Colossus Hellfire Gala uniform, and how much better this is going to make him in Marvel Future Fight. Now, for those of you who haven't been keeping up with Colossus, he has maintained his presence as a preeminent defensive figure in PvP as a support type, thanks to his passive change, his tier 2 passive change on his Phoenix 5 uniform. Well, and there he goes, down he goes. So basically, we're going to be, for the majority of the video, testing out Colossus in PvP because that is where he has been good for a long time. And looking at the uniform changes and the uniform buffs and the uniform effects and all that stuff, it generally tends to make him a really good PvP threat. However, there are two major caveats, and this is just sort of a random team that I put together as well as that I'm fighting against. There's two major caveats with Colossus and his new uniform that you may or may not have noticed. The first is that he lacks a heal. Wow, there's so many Hellas right now. What the hella is going on with Hella? He lacks a heal. The second issue is that he does not have, there's the old Phoenix, the Phoenix 5 one. The second issue is that he does not have iframe ignore. So these two issues basically amplify themselves in the game mode where they're most used, and that of course is PvP. So we'll try to find a couple of other teams here and we'll run through some runs. I mean, I generally like his matchup versus Gilgamesh, but in essence, this uniform unfortunately does not perform that much better than his Phoenix 5 uniform, in my opinion, for the majority of players. There are absolutely going to be people out there who can make this uniform work for them with, you know, insane builds, tons of 100% HP on their cards, you know, mighty CTPs of regen, etc. And if you really want your Colossus to drip like the drip god that he is, then yeah, sure, you can invest a ton into him and maybe you can make it work. That's a big maybe. On the other hand, if you're just hoping that he's going to get an upgrade to continue doing what he did best, which is slap him on your team to make another character tankier, then there's really no reason at all to buy this uniform. And that, in my opinion, is a little bit of a disappointment and a letdown because he got his Transcendence. That's a pretty big deal. That's a huge stat bump, especially for Colossus. I'll show you. He's got one of the craziest HP jumps of any character ever. And yet the devs decided they were going to leave it at that. And that's really what burns me and what I think is going to burn a lot of people, pun intended. You know, he gets this uniform for Phoenix 5 in what, October 2019? So it's been a long time, man. It's been like over 2 years. Yeah, like when Namor got his Phoenix 5 uniform. Remember that character? Yeah, haven't said his name in ages. So this uniform's been out for over 2 years. And to not improve a character after 2 years is, in my opinion, unacceptable. So I strongly, highly encourage the devs to improve Colossus. And to be honest with you, I don't really care where they improve him. Now, I do think he needs a base heal. I do think he also needs base iframe ignore for PvP. But frankly, I would be fine if they only gave him one of those things, but they also gave him a lot more PvP value, or PvE value, excuse me, because then that would make sense, right? They don't necessarily have to make him better for PvP. He already has value just based on this passive, but they could then decide to bring him up to 2022. Yes, we're in that new year now. Bring him up to 2022 standard for PvP. For PvE, excuse me. Sorry, I keep saying PvP when I mean to say PvE, right? Because basically, what has been the case for Colossus since this uniform 2 years ago is he had zero value in PvE. He had zero value in World Boss, Squad Battle, ABX, etc. Zero. The only way in hell you would use him in that game mode is if you needed another character to survive, and for some reason they were dying against the AI bosses. But you can just play better, or, you know, fix your skill, you know, change around your rotation, your healing, whatever, switch. You don't really need to bring Colossus in for PvE. So yeah, it would have been fine either way, right? If they had just either make him better for PvP now, which they didn't do, they failed on that delivery, or make him as good for PvP and much better for PvE, because we now know, I mean, even Gilgamesh is better. Why wouldn't you just get Gilgamesh? He's better for PvP and he's better for PvE. Sure, he has the initial crystal investment, but you get some crystals back, you get an infinite mission that you can farm for artifacts, and he's way better in both game modes. Or just get Luke Cage. Even Luke Cage is better. We've got a character that's almost a year old, who is basically just better in both scenarios than Colossus is. Okay, so all right, I'm sort of laying it on thick on how disappointed I am with this character. Let's try to look at the positives here, but just let me to be clear here. If you just want to use him as a support type, there's no reason to buy the new uniform. The new uniform offers 0 new buffs. Well, okay, I lied. It offers a 5% increase in the physical reflect decrease that it gives you. So instead of taking 60% less physical reflect, you'll take 65% less physical reflect. That is highly inconsequential, and it basically, for 99.99% of your fights, it will never matter. So yeah, there has been 0 increases. Just top to bottom, it's irritating, because if you look at his leadership, it says, what does it say? Guardian of the X-Men. This crud applies to all allies. There's nothing X-Men specific here. There's nothing mutant specific. Nothing. He has always just been a generic defensive passive support, and it's just irritating. They could have either iterated on his uniform to make him even more of a tank to the team. Why couldn't he offer HP to the team? Or maybe HP to all mutant allies like Hulkbuster does for telekinetic allies. Like, there's so many effects, right? The Black Dwarf's new uniform offers all of these buffs to the Black Order. Oh, all allies there. Oh, never mind, I can't read. The all allies is here. To the Black Order allies, he offers guard break immunity, immunity to stun, decreases physical reflect as well. Hulkbuster, we've already talked about this one briefly, but Technokinetics get 35% HP. War Machine even has better buffs for allies. So I'm not really sure what the devs were smoking when they came up with this one, but I strongly recommend that you avoid this uniform. If you're just looking for the support, this uniform does the job perfectly. And I'm not even gonna bother doing like a I was thinking about it at the beginning of the video. I was like, I'll do a side-by-side comparison. I'll take I'll take one meta team, and I'll substitute in the new Colossus versus the old one. There's really no point. Literally the only change is that 5%. That's it, and that's nothing. Because, you know, if your Wolverine is dying to that 5%, then there's a problem with your Wolverine build, not a problem with buying this new Colossus uniform. And that's really unfortunate. It actually is really unfortunate, because I wanted to recommend that you buy this uniform because it looks amazing. This uniform is so cool. Like, in terms of the person who took the time to draw this and model this, okay, and you know, map and whatever, kudos to you, man. Woman, whoever you are, like, kudos to you. You did a fantastic job. The group that did this did a fantastic job, and their work is being wasted because very few players are going to experience this uniform because it's useless. Now, moving on to the other things that will make your jaw drop but actually have no function whatsoever. Take a look at this insane HP jump. So he goes from 20,000 HP up to 42,000. He gets more than a 100% increase in his HP, his base HP, more than 100%. His base HP is way higher than Wolverine's, way higher than most characters. Only a few select characters like Immortal Hulk actually have more base HP than Colossus does. And you can see here with this build, I'm rocking over 100,000 HP, and my Obelisk doesn't even give him HP. So you can get a very thick, very tanky Colossus. This build in particular is guard break dodge 5 seconds. He does, however, need guard break immunity, because unlike Mr. Sinister and unlike Captain Britain, aka Betsy Braddock, aka old Psylocke, he's the only one of the Hellfire Gala that didn't get guard break immunity. It almost doesn't make any sense, right? The clear PvP pick is the one out of the 3 that they didn't give guard break immunity to. Sounds like a bad joke, but okay, you saw his production, or lack thereof, with an Obelisk. It's really not going to get much better than that. You really can't expect anything of him in PvP unless you're going to go straight for a CTP. And mind you, I have pretty balanced cards. I've got great rolls of double HP and all defense on the uniform. I've got an Odin's Blessing plus 8 HP Urus plus dodge Urus and some recovery rate Urus just to you know, spice it up a little bit more. We're capped on all the important stats here, including dodge. And yeah, my cards, just for reference, I've got 74% max HP. I've been busy juicing up my cards for both game modes. 40% all defense. I've also got a cheeky 26% cooldown reduction, or sorry, crowd control time reduction, which means that I'll get out of stuns and snares 25% faster. These are all useful for PvP, but it's not going to work. So I know a lot of you have a CTP of Insight on your Colossus. So when you buy this uniform or when you just transcend your Colossus, you will see a huge spike in his HP because we forget that the CTP of Insight actually has max HP. And that's all nice. And you know what would be great and what is actually so triggering? When you realize that the CTP of Insight doesn't have guard break immunity. But then you think a little bit harder and you say to yourself, well, if the devs had given Colossus guard break immunity, then he could have kept using the Insight and actually been a threat on your team for PvP. Because what ends up happening instead, regardless if you have this uniform or the old one, as soon as it switches to Colossus, he gets guard broken and he gets one tapped by anyone. Because they all have super guard break and guard break on all of their skills now. So yeah, it's doubly annoying because you know what? The rest of the Insight's pretty amazing for him. Max HP and all defense. And take a look at his physical defense, 24,000. Do you know how much damage Spider-Man does to him? Spider-Man tickles him. Not to mention the fact that, again, all these ideas just compounding on each other. The old Colossus, he's a villain. Spider-Man in PvP has 60% damage to villains, right? Remember this. 60% damage to villains. That's why he claps Doom like a folding chair. Guess what? New Colossus is not a villain. So he dodges that 60% increase. So he looks like a perfect low budget counter to Spider-Man. Much lower budget than having to go through the Gilgamesh epic quest, having to go through the Wolverine epic quest. Jeez, come on, right? But no, the devs could not build him properly. So I'm gonna make a mistake here, and I'm gonna go ahead and give him. We're gonna go ahead and give him a mighty CTP of regeneration. This is not a good idea, but I'm gonna do it anyways just to prove how bad this character is and how he desperately needs a rework. Okay, yes, I could give him 4 heal Odin's blessings. We're not gonna get that crazy. Okay, I don't want to sacrifice that much, but maybe I should. But okay, all right, fine. I'll give him 1. Okay, you bet my arm. I got one today from Corvus. It was meant to be. I'll give him 1. Are we at 20,000? Okay, we're at 122,000 now. Perfect. That one Odin's blessing added over 3,000 HP. So if I add 3 more, he's gonna go over 130,000 HP. That's a lot of HP, Ma. That's a lot of HP. Okay. Now, is this a viable team for him? No, probably not. Anywho, we're gonna go in with it and try anyways. We're gonna go and find some of these top teams. The thing is, though, here's the thing. He's still gonna get clapped. He's still gonna get clapped. All of his defenses, most of his defenses, more than half are physical. So he's gonna have a very hard time against any energy. Wow, that's a very poorly built Hela. But look at this. He's gonna take no damage from Spider-Man. Okay, maybe not no damage. Okay, he died. Okay, so Hela's buff works. And here's the other thing that's annoying about Colossus is you can't cancel Hela's buff or ignore it, because if you use Molecule Man, then Molecule Man's gonna negate his own passive. So you're sort of trapped in a catch-22 situation where the best thing about Colossus would be negated, and it basically means you have to hard dodge Hela teams. Now, I wouldn't really mind having to dodge Hela teams if I knew that when I fought non-Hela teams, I would win, right? If I knew, like, any physical team I come up against that doesn't have Hela, it's over. However, that's not really the case. I think at best, to give you guys like a very high-level PvP Whales experience, he's dead, by the way. No heal, by the way. Nice. 2022 characters that don't have a heal. That seems like a fair thing. Anywho, I'm smelling popcorn, so I should probably stop ranting. But here's the thing. If you knew that he could, beat these physical damage teams to a standstill and do well against energy damage teams, then it might be worth it. But at the very best, what I've heard is that no, you can't fight teams with Hela, so it's just not happening. At the very best, he fights Gilgamesh to a standstill. And let me just say that is not as impressive as it might sound. I know it might sound impressive, but it's really not. Fighting Gilgamesh to a standstill, a lot of characters can do that. And, again, having another one of those characters that can do that when he's already doing the exact job that you want him to do with his old 2-year uniform is fine. Like, what would you rather have? A team that can kill Gilgamesh plus your regular Colossus and 1,000 crystals, or the same team that can kill Gilgamesh plus one extra character that can't kill him but can duel him to a standstill. Oh, but only if you have his artifact, and preferably the 6-star version or the 5-star version, because I'm about to show you how much of a joke the 3-star version is. Oh yeah, you didn't think that this could get any worse? Wait till I show you the stats on the 3-star version of his artifact. It is hilarious. So here we are. Oh, he's actually going to kill Gilgamesh and then get absolutely one-tapped by Cersei because he has no energy defense whatsoever. Okay, he's hanging in here. Keep in mind, I got a might. Okay, he's gone. All right. Okay. And again, this is with all of these. Well, I guess Ebony's buff isn't doing anything for him, but you know what I mean. Like, he's got all these buffs from White Fox versus villains and hero. Wow, that's a real thing. But yeah, I just listen. There's no point. Why waste all this time? Why waste all this energy, all this effort on a character that is just mostly a support, right? Like, why would I make this team when I could just make a better team? This is just objectively a better team. It's got better coverage. It can do energy damage, physical damage. It can deal with revive. It can deal with all the yada yada yada, right? Or I can just build a team that has Molecule Man if I'm finding that a lot of people are stacking up on Cersei buffs, stacking up on Hela buffs. If you use Molecule Man, you completely invalidate Colossus, so he's useless. If you use a superior team, he's also invalidated. So I feel like the meta is really invalidating him at this point, and the devs didn't do anything to fix that. And they definitely could have done something to fix that. For example, another idea here, they could have made this passive be non-negatable, so that Molecule Man's leadership doesn't ignore Colossus's buffs. That would be kind of annoying. It's like guard break immunity and then super guard break penetration and then super guard break immunity. It's kind of annoying, but still, they could have done that. Instead, what do we get? We get a cash grab where, let's take a look. The 3-star Heart of Organic Steel. What an amazing name for, I don't know, a cereal company. 20% chance when he's hit. A 1 in 5 chance when he's hit to heal for a whopping 3% of his HP with a 5-second cooldown. You have got to be kidding me. This is more than a joke. For this to work, this would have to be a 30% heal that triggers for 3 seconds every 5 seconds. That is an acceptable number. But it is not even, it's 1/30th of that. I literally had to 30 times that because I had to multiply the time by 3 and I had to multiply the amount by 10. It's just not going to work, baby. There's just no way you're going to get this dude to do anything that Wolverine, Luke Cage, and Gilgamesh can't just do better and more easily. At least the 3-star version of Wolverine's artifact still gives him immortality for 4 seconds. Sit, like, just for 1 second, just with your mind's eye, just consider the value there, right? Wolverine's 3-star artifact, 4 seconds of immortality. Colossus's artifact, he will literally die before it triggers. He'll just get one tapped before that thing triggers. There's just no difference. There's just no. I think Beast Mode said it. They should have given Mr. Sinister's artifact to Colossus. It just doesn't make any sense. So yeah. There's really nothing else to say here, and I've sort of rambled on long, and I've ranted on long enough. But yeah. So unfortunately, I cannot in any good faith recommend that you buy this uniform for anything else other than the drip and the aesthetic. I know there are people that are going to buy it for that, but that being said, I highly encourage the developers to review this character and see the usage rates and see how bad he is with a good build, with a great build even, and then tweak him. He absolutely deserves a tweak, and I really need the devs to start taking the mutants seriously, because outside of Betsy, sort of spoiler alert for Mr. Sinister's video, this has been a bit of a disappointment as far as the power level goes. And it's basically time and time again that the devs overpromise and underdeliver on mutants, where they just cannot fix their power level. I mean, it took them a long time to fix Spidey's power level, so let's not pretend that they only pick on the mutants, right? We had a bunch of crappy Cap uniforms, a bunch of crappy Iron Man and Thor and Hulk and Spidey uniforms, so they did the OGs extremely dirty. But come on, it's time. Let's start 2022 off on the right foot, on Colossus's right foot. Anywho, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the Drip God and these goofy PvP teams. And yeah, what are we gonna do with this guy? We're gonna do some stage 9 clears with White Fox, because keep in mind he does have this. Yeah, I know. Anywho, thanks so much for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.